Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.
So guys, this is my weekly report for November 30th. But first I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Yeah, I've been in the fishing industry for about 30 years. I get a lot of my information from guides, local guides, friends, customers, and I'm always on the water like 3 or 4 times a week. So any of the things I tell you guys is pretty current. So you know, it comes out on Wednesday, you could actually go out on the weekend and do what I'm telling you. Also, when you're on your way Saturday, if you're out fishing, turn your radio on to 11:40 a.m. at 6:35 and I'm live. So I actually tell you everything that's going on. So if I find out something between, you know, Wednesday when I'm doing it right now till Saturday, I'm live. So 11:40 on the AM dial. So guys, I put out 2 videos a week. On Monday, I do the videos where I'm teaching you stuff about fishing. And then on Wednesdays, I do this report. So let's get on with this report. So first of all, I always like to start out, you know, with salt water. One of the things I did this last week was we went out and did some crabbing, because crabbing is just crazy off the hook right now. There was 3 of us. It took us about an hour and a half. You know, we soaked them we started pulling them at 30 minutes, and the first 2 traps we didn't get anything. So we decided to wait a little bit longer, and then about an hour and a half we had our 30. Then we headed up north and we went and we fished for lingcod. So if you looked at this last video, this last Monday, it shows you how to go after some monster lingcod. And basically, you know, it's been a while since I went up there, because I used to go there all the time with my dad and his fishing partner for many, many years. And when I got up there, I started looking around at the cliff and I started recognizing spots. I started recognizing wash rocks. Well, in the wintertime, in the fall, these big lingcods come shallow. You know, they might be out in 500 feet of water, you know, all through the year. And then during the fall, when they decide this time to spawn, they come up shallow. So we were fishing in 30 to 60 feet at the max, and we hooked some monsters. And we had some big lingcod, and all of them were caught hitchhiking. So watch that video Monday, you know, crabbing and lingcod, and you could catch a lot of rockfish right now. So those are probably your hot items. But I want to tell you something about those lings. I caught them hitchhiking. So watch that video, because you can't set the hook. You have to bring it in slow. You shouldn't use a net. So all those things, just watch Monday and you'll be able to see how I did it. Tuna, they're still catching bluefin. They're hooking them out on the outside of the Cordell banks. Danny was out there. He caught one about 200 and I think it was 219. So they're still catching them out there. And I think they had 2 other ones on and they lost them. Salmon out in the ocean, kind of dying off. You know, it's kind of ended now. And as you come in the bay, they're still catching a few halibut. It's not red hot. A lot of people aren't fishing for them anymore, but I know some guys that are still going after them and they're still actually catching them. The striper action locally, they're starting to move in pretty thick. Some of the guys that are doing trolling, you could catch them bait fishing. But first of all, I want to tell you something. Sturgeon has been really good in the Pittsburgh to Martinez area. I know these guys that are fishing in Suisun, and they're using a salmon roe, and they use eel when they could get it, and they're using grass shrimp. And they're complaining that the stripers are eating all their bait. So they're out there catching stripers from 5 to 15 pounds, and they're getting mad because they're eating their sturgeon bait. So it just tells me that those fish are on their way and starting to move in bigger numbers and bigger size. I went out a couple times this last week, and like I said, I got a A-rig video coming out, and I did catch a couple double-digit ones, but we caught a lot of fish. So today, guys, we're out throwing A-rigs. It's just starting now, and the fish will keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But water temperature is 50 degrees and it's time. So get them A-rigs out.
One after another. It was an incredible day on the
Did you get any?
Yeah, well, I did get a super big one, but someone said it was hooked twice and he would help me in with the fish. And what happened?
It came off.
Yeah.
Because you slacked up.
Yeah, because I let Alan take my
You
fish.
slacked up.
Many fights to continue.
A lot of fun throwing that A-rig though, huh?
It was awesome. It was super fun.
So the stripers are in the system. So you should be able to go out anywhere around Rio Vista. And as far north as, I was way up north and catching them. So they're starting to come in the system. And remember, stripers will stay in the Delta now until they spawn, which is usually around March or April. So all they do right now is feed. John was up north and he caught a lot of fish this last week. They even caught a sturgeon in there. Michael, he was out there, he caught a lot of fish. So all these guys are calling me saying, hey, stripers are starting to show. Adrian and Nate were out there yesterday, and I told them, they were calling me during the day, and I said, you guys have to wait for that tide. And the bigger tides are in the evening. And right before dark, they called me and said, man, we had like 10 blow-ups. You know, I had one pulled the hook right out of Nate's topwater lure. Adrian had one big one on, he said, right to the boat. And they just had a hard time landing these things. You know, when you're in 2 feet of water and you're hooking these monster fish, they can't go deep. So a lot of times they'll roll, and a lot of times they'll just shoot out right through the grass, and you just have a heck of a time landing them. But the stripers seem to be picking up. The weather's cooling, the water temperature today when I was out here is 50 degrees, and it's perfect. I'm loving it. So I know within the next few months, I'm gonna be going after some big fish in shallow water. Okay, the bass fishing's been tapered off a little bit last week, and I have friends that went out. I haven't gone after them, but my friends have been going, and they did pretty good. They're catching fish, you're catching them flipping, and they're catching them on sinkles still. And when they're fishing this sinkle, they're fishing it dead sticking it, meaning that they pitch it out, they let it hit the bottom, just let it sit there for counted 5, and then just hardly move it. And a lot of times you'll just feel weight, set the hook. But the bass fishing was bad a couple weeks ago when I went, but when the weather temperature drops and the water temperature drops 10 degrees, it'll take them about a week or so before they acclimate to it, so they're starting to bite. So don't give up on them bass. You know, if you want to catch bass, they're starting to bite. The lakes are really good. A lot of good reports. Comanche, Folsom, Orville's red hot. All these lakes are going to start picking up right now. And if they have threadfin shad in there, take a spoon with you. A 1 3/4 to 2 ounce spoon. Watch my videos. I did a lot of videos on spooning where I flip-flopped and actually jig form, cast form with flutter spoons. All that's coming up right now. So the bass fishing in the lakes is a really good place, like if you want to go bass fishing, to go hit right now. Another thing in our local lakes is crappie and perch. It's kind of like a lot of people don't go after them, but I did one at Berryessa on perch and crappie. You can look at them. I did it in the Delta, and this is the time of year to do it right now. And we did one at Berryessa about a month ago, and those crappie were anywhere from 1 pound to 2.5 pounds. We went back and we caught perch that were bigger than my hand, and some of them were 1 pound, 1.5 pounds. Well, a friend of mine was up there at Berryessa fishing for bass, and he's catching perch that weighed over 2 pounds. So, you know, if you guys want to go perch or crappie, try Berryessa. Hit the lakes. I'm sure all the lakes have a lot of them in there because it doesn't get a lot of pressure. Trout. Another thing, trout fishing. As the weather gets cool, all the lakes are going to start planting. I know Comanche, Amador, Collins, they're all stocking really heavily. They're putting the that one yellow looking trout, I can't even remember the dang name of it. Huh? Lightning trout, yeah. I remember the first time my grandson caught one, he brought it up, I thought it was a koi carp. But they're planting a lot of lightning fish in all those lakes. So, you know, lakes are probably a good bet if you want to go fishing for trout. I know a lot of guys have been going up there and they've been trolling the speedy shiner. And just remember, you have to troll about 2.5 miles an hour when you're trolling them things. You can't troll. A guy came in the shop the other day, said he was trolling a night crawler and his buddy was using a speedy shiner. Well, that's the wrong combination, because with the worm and the blades, you have to go about 1 mile an hour to 1.5. Speedy shiner, you have to go 2.5. So you have to use the right baits. So you both have to use the same. So fishing in the general area, for no matter what you want to go right now in the fall, has been off the hook. It's been red hot. One of the hot lakes also, guys, is Pyramid Lake. You saw the video I did on Pyramid Lake. Gabe was up there, the guy, that friend of mine that I went with. He lives in Sparks, so he went back this last week and had a phenomenal day. But he wasn't spooning because he was catching them in shallow water. The lake's gotten really cool, so those fish go real shallow. He was fishing, trolling rapalas, and he had about a 50 fish a day, and he said they averaged between 5 and 8 pounds. And I think they had one teener fish. But that lake is going to be off the hook here real quick. But watch the weather, because it gets kind of nasty there and it's really cold. So guys, my tackle tip for this week is basically any kind of fish that you're going after that the water has current, where it's tidal. So I'm going to just give you examples. So this last video I did this last Monday on lane cod, I actually showed you the pinnacles, but I know exactly which way those fish are facing, and I know exactly what side the pinnacle they're on, because fish have to be looking into the current. So when they look into the current, I just drift over the top of it, and I know where they're at because I could see the pinnacle on my graph, and then I just drop it down and put it right in front of their face, and it's fish on. So just remember, it doesn't matter whether I'm in the delta, out in the ocean, anywhere where there's a tide and the current's moving, fish always have to look into it. So just remember, position that boat in the right spot and you will get bit. Another thing, guys, I want to let you know is that lowrance, if you guys have a ghost trolling motor on your boat, lowrance has an important update, and it doesn't seem that everybody's getting the bolting that there's a fix for it. You could go to my Facebook page, Alan Fong Outdoors, and I posted it. And you hit the link and it shows you, it's about a 10-minute job. If you're half-assed mechanically inclined, you just flip the pedal over, take it off. You're gonna move one positive lead to another. So you're gonna stack the leads, and it takes you about 10 minutes. So go to my Facebook page and you'll see it on there. So I hope you like this video. Please hit the like, and if you would subscribe, it'll really help my channel out a lot. And if you look on the bottom corner, you can leave me a comment, and within 2 or 3 days I will get back to you. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.
Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.